Hello everybody, my name is Zach, and today we're going to do a list on the top 5 Commander staples in Hour of Devastation. Now these are based mostly on my opinion, but I went through based on how often I think they'll see play compared to all the other cards, how viable are they, the utilities. I'm not going to include anything that I think will only be used as a commander, because those are only going to be used as a commander of one deck. So there are no gods on this list. There are a few legendary creatures, but Neheb's not on here either. I may make a separate list of what I think you can do with the commanders after this one. Coming in at 5, we have Jeru with Eyes Open. I may be pronouncing his name wrong, but he is 3 and 2 white. He is a 4/3 with Vigilance. When he enters the battlefield, you can search your library for a Planeswalker card, reveal it, and shuffle your library. If a source will deal damage to a Planeswalker you control, prevent one of that damage. So I do believe, yeah, he could be in his own commander deck anyways. But I could see a lot of white decks or Super Friends decks like Atraxa, 5-color Super Friends, or any Super Friends decks that are running white. I'd very well see them running Jeru with Eyes Open. I may try him in my own 5-color Super Friends deck. His most relevant part is the fact that he tutors for a Planeswalker. He's generally 5 mana search for a Planeswalker. I mean, preventing 1 damage to them can be nice. Chances are in a commander game, people can kill your Planeswalkers off pretty easily anyway if they really want to. So I wouldn't run him for the second ability. He's a 5 mana 4/3, so he's a decent body to protect your walkers. You can just chuck him in front of something that's attacking them, and then he gets you a Planeswalker. Not terrible, not the best, or not the worst. Next up, we have the big baddie of Hour of Devastation, Nicol God Pharaoh. 4 a blue, a black, and a red. Comes in with 7 loyalty. +2, target opponent exiles cards from the top of their library till they reveal a non-land card. Till end of turn, you may play that card without paying its mana cost. This ability allows you to get removal, creatures. You can just exile one of their combo pieces. Now, it is kind of random, and in a 4-player game, it doesn't do much. Even in a 1-player game, it's probably not the ability you're going to use very much. You're much more likely to use his +1, which is each opponent exiles 2 cards from their hand. You do this over a course of 2 to 3 turns, and your opponents don't really have much of a hand. The +1 is very strong. Even if you only activate it once, those cards are gone forever, unless they have something like Pull from Eternity, which, if you're playing against an opponent that's running that, you're probably not even going to be able to cast Nicol because they will kill you beforehand. He has the -4, where he deals 7 damage to a creature or player. It's nice that he has removal on top of the 2 control abilities. Now, he doesn't really have a way to protect himself. Well, I mean, killing a creature does it. He can also finish off a player who's low on life. And finally, -12, exile all non-land permanents each of your opponents control. So it obliterates your opponent's boards while keeping yours. Now they do get to keep their lands, otherwise this card would be pretty ridiculous in Commander. It's really nice that when you play a doubling season, you can just ult right away afterward. So things like my 5-color Commander deck or 5-color Super Friends deck are gonna love having this card in there. The reason he's pretty low on the list, I mean, he is 3 colors. Only so many decks can run him. Generally, Grixis. Like, I think one of the 4-color decks, maybe 2 of them can run him, and 5-color decks. He's probably mostly going to see play in 5-color decks or some form of Grixis control. As I said, making people exile cards from their hand is really strong. If they're Reanimator decks, they can't even bring them back. At number 3, we have Hour of Revelation. 3 and 3 white sorcery, but it costs 3 less to cast. If there are 10 or more non-land permanents on the battlefield, it destroys all non-land permanents. So it's planar cleansing, except in Commander, it's usually going to cost 3 white. And because you're usually casting it for 3 white, afterwards you can generally restore your board presence by playing a bunch more cards out. And then you have things out before your opponents do. Following turn, you can start swinging at people. I'm a big fan of Hour of Revelation. I'm not going to run it in my 5-color deck because things like Cyclonic Rift, Toxic Deluge, a lot of those are quite a bit better, and I can control what they destroy. And this is mostly going to see play in mono white decks or red-white decks, or decks that don't really have very much, board wipe in their kits or, just available to them. Or for people who don't want to have to spend the money to get an O-Stone, because I think Oblivion Stones are still pretty expensive. There's not much else to say on it. It's a board wipe, it kills things, and it's a very efficient board wipe. At number 2, we have Uncage the Menagerie. X and 2 green sorcery. Search your library for up to X creature cards with different names that each have converted mana cost X. Reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. So for 4 mana, we can get 2 cost creatures. For 5 mana, we can get 3 cost creatures, and so on and so forth. Now it's not as good as cards like Court of Calling, which instant speed a creature straight into play. And, we do still have to play them afterward. However, it does allow us to get multiple cards out of our deck. If you're playing something like Slivers, getting 2 of your 2-cost Slivers out can end the game, especially if you're a combo deck. Or just, if you get the Mana Sliver and the Sliver that produces mana, while you have Sliver Queen out, you can make infinite Slivers, provided you have the card that reduces her ability to 1 mana. It's also just good in, and pretty much any deck that's a creature-based and running green. A lot of Birthing Pod decks would run cards like this. Birthing Pod decks usually have 2 or 3 cards at various costs anyways. So, I mean, paying 5 mana to get 2 3-cost creatures isn't half bad. I mean, even getting 2 2-cost creatures for 4, I mean, you're getting 3 drops in Elves. Because that's where all the really good lords and stuff are. You get like Elvish Archdruid, you get Imperious Prefect, stuff like that. I mean, at 2, they have the one that taps for each elf you control. It adds a green to your mana pool. I expect this card to see a ton of play in Commander, and I definitely expect this card to go up in price. It's sitting at like 3 or 4 right now. I'm probably actually going to try to pick up quite a few of these myself. I have a few decks that would like to run this. And finally, at number 1, we have the other big baddie, Liliana's 3rd demon, Razaketh the Foul-Blooded. 5 and 3 black, 8/8 flying trample, legendary demon. Pay 2 life, sacrifice another creature, search your library for a card, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. He is an 8/8 flying trample, so on his own he's a strong beater. But the real big ability is pay 2 life, sack a creature, and tutor for anything you want. If this thing resolves and hits the board, you can usually end the game within the next turn, getting your following win cons, your large creatures. This card I expect to see just as much play, if not a little more, than Uncage the Menagerie. It was kind of a tie between those 2 cards. I figured I'd put Razaketh a bit further ahead. I mean, he tutors for anything that you want out of the deck at instant speed. Uncage is a sorcery. You still do have to play them, so taking those factors in, Razaketh is at the top. There's not much else to really say about him. He's a living demonic tutor, and you can just do it as much as you want without even having to pay mana into it. So he is going to see a lot of play. Alright, and that's our list on the top 5 Commander staples in Amonkhet. These are based on my opinions, but let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you like this video, if you agree or disagree what I've said. If you do disagree, let me know what you think should have been in those top 5, other than the 3 gods and Neheb, because those, as I said, I do only believe are mostly going to be commanders, which I'm covering in a new segment. But if you do believe that they will see more play in decks, let me know down below as well. Thank you everybody for watching. We will see you in our next video.